This is Day or Night Exotics TV. I'm Dale or Night. On this one, we're going to do some Grammostola comparisons from the Grammostola Maule all the way to a Grammostola red color form. I picked up a new edition. I believe it's a red color form, but still on the fence about it because it needs to get a molt before I can actually confirm that it's actually a red color form. So let's hop right into this one, guys. We're going to be taking a look at a lot of Grammostolas and some of the differences between them. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. We're going to start this off with my newest edition, which is Grammostola rosea. The name is Cypress, and this is what I believe to be a suspect male. He's a little guy. Got him at a local pet store, and like I said, suspect male. And this one, what caught my eye with this one, if you look at it, it's got a little bit of a red color form look to it. I'm not sure if it's a red color form, but for this tarantula to be this coloration, the camera isn't totally picking up how red this tarantula is, or brownish red this tarantula is. The carapace is one of the things that is kind of gives it away. It's not a brown color form. It's much too light to be a brown color form, but the hairs are way too red for it to be just your normal run-of-the-mill standard G rosea. And I'll show you an example of that. If you're a beginner, I'll show you a comparison to that. And I'm also going to compare this one to the Grammostola Maule, which looks very much like a red color form outside of the carapace and some skeleton striping on the knees and legs. But this one here, still very small. He's around 3.5 inches long, maybe. Very little guy still, and looks like it's gonna molt at some point this year. I'm not sure when. Maybe a few months from now, probably 6 months from now, it'll molt, and that'll really tell me whether or not this one is actually a red color form or not. But for all intents and purposes, just from looking at it at first glance, it is definitely not just your pink carapace, grayish legged, brown legged tarantula. This is a G rosea that has got a little bit extra going on with it, which is awesome because I love G roseas, and also love any of the color forms, the brown color form. I used to have a brown color form named Orion. I'm sure a lot of you remember, if you've been with my channel for a while, you remember that one from my tarantula clouds. Very good eater. She passed away around a half a year ago. So I actually, with the lighting in the store, I actually thought this was a brown color form until I got it home and realized it was something. It was a lot lighter than I expected. But the first molt this one gets after the first molt this one has in my care will tell me a lot about what this one looks like. So let's take a look at my Grammostola Maule. This is Cotton Candy. This is my Grammostola species Maule. Call it, the common name is the Chilean gold fluff. And as you can see here, this one, for one, this one needs to molt. Seriously, I mean, this one has not molted in my care. I've had it maybe 1.5 years now, and she's an awesome tarantula, very friendly. Not a huge eater, but she eats, fairly well. I mean, you can see that her rump is actually always plump. I mean, she never really goes on a fast at all. But as you can see, that carapace is extremely dark. This is obviously not a a brown color form. You can see the striping on the knees, the skeleton striping on the knees there. This one, like I said, I love Grammostolas to begin with. Grammostolas and Brachypelmas are two of my favorite genuses in the hobby, just because of the variety that you can get with them. But a tarantula like this, you can obviously see that it's not your basic Grammostola rosea that you would get in a common pet store, just because of that black carapace and the really reddish legs going onto the abdomen, and on the legs going into the knees there. I mean, you can just tell this is a very beautiful tarantula. But compared to this lady, as you can see, how brown this one is compared to that one. Brownish looking, but you can also see that it has a lot of reds going on in there, even though she's very dull, and I can tell by her rump that she's in need of a molt. But I'm going to be very curious to see what that carapace looks like. You know, it's really hard to tell with some of these Grammostolas whether or not you have a red color form versus a normal. Now, right now, personally, I don't really think this is a red color form. I just think it's an odd looking Grammostola, just your normal Grammostola. It does not have a pink carapace though, and the legs are different, but I do think this is a suspect male, and sometimes they tend to look a little different sometimes before they mature out. My two mature male G. roseas both kind of looked a little different than color-wise than a female would at the same size. So like I said, a molt's going to tell me everything. But let's take a look at what my female G. rosea looks like. If you're a beginner, you can see kind of what a normal color form G. rosea looks like. Okay, so this is Cypress, the newest edition, and this is a normal, what you would call a normal, if you're a beginner out there. This is what Grammostola rosea, the Chilean rose, would look like in any common pet store you would go to. Can't really see it right now the way she's sitting, but you can see first off that she's much more silverish in color as far as the legs go. A brownish silverish. Carapace is dark right now, but she's in need of a she molted a while back. She's not really gonna molt anytime soon, but she's always been a more of a darker toned G. rosea. So but you can see that, I mean, it's just a lot more darks going on in there. Carapace is a lot darker, but still has a lot of pink in it. And just color wise, you can see she's much more of a flatter, you know, toned tarantula than you would say like with this Grammostola Maule, which is much more busier in color and in the patterns. And you know, so I mean, a lot of people who can't tell these things apart, I mean, you really start to appreciate a tarantula like this Grammostola Maule because of just how much busier it is than your normal G. rosea, which obviously are still beautiful tarantulas. They just, you know, they just don't have a lot going on outside of that trademark pink carapace. They pretty much are just your standard tarantula that most people would think of when they think of tarantula. But this one, like I said again, although not having a tremendous amount of stuff going on, she does have a tremendous amount of color coming from her legs, and the carapace is like a goldish bronze color, which you don't always see that in a pet store. Some of these tarantulas I've seen this color before sold at expos for can go up to $50-$60 for a 3.5 inch just because of the coloration like this. This I got for $20 because it came from a store that obviously had no idea how to price things with the little extra stuff going on like the coloration. So I kind of got lucky with it, and she's also very pleasant. I handle her almost every day because she'll come out of there, and I keep saying she, but she, I think this is a suspect male. This is Queen, and she is the biggest of my female G. roseas, and unlike Whisper, you can see that she has a very distinct pink purplish carapace, but still has those brown silverish looking legs there. Very, very different from the Grammostola Maule or the red color form or the brown color form. And like I said, this is your normal, but for you beginners, you want to know what a brown color form looks like. This is my she's been frozen. This is my beautiful girl that I miss very much. This is Orion. She was my Grammostola rosea brown color form, or you call them the Grammostola pottery. And it's harder to see in there, but you can see how there you go, how dark that carapace was. She passed away of old age. She was a wild caught specimen, very, very old when I got her. She used to be one of my best feeders, and can't tell you how much I miss this girl. And I actually missed her so much I never did an update on her death. She passed away very unexpectedly, and it was unfortunate, but that's what a brown coliform looks like. I'm keeping her. Gonna eventually get her mounted and get her in a frame so I can remember her properly. But the camera will focus here. You can see just how dark this tarantula was, and these brown coliforms, you'll find them in a pet store labeled as a G. rosea normal. So if you ever come across one this dark, you got yourself a brown coliform. And if you're a beginner, you want to know what a mature male looks like. Coloration wise, this is a perfect example of what a mature male looks like. Very pink carapace, long-legged, brown, not a lot of color going on. Sometimes you can get, if you look at the legs there, they'll get almost like an aqua bluish sheen to their legs, as you can kind of see there. It's black, but it just kind of has this iridescent sheen sometimes that pops off, at least with this guy. This is Perseus, by the way. He's the first mature male G. rosea I've owned. I think he's the first mature male any tarantula I've ever owned. And still trying to pair him up with my big girl, my first tarantula I ever owned, Queen. She's a G. rosea, obviously. But you can see the carapace there, very, very pink. Not prevalent on this G. rosea female, and this one is Whisper, by the way. I forgot to say her name. And you can clearly see that she's much bulkier and darker than he is. But I always thought that G. rosea males are very beautiful, and their carapaces can be strikingly brilliant, popping in color. They are very good to photograph because they're just beautiful tarantulas, these mature males. And I've had this guy for a long time, and he's still going strong. Doesn't eat anything now, but he's doing very well. I mean, the only problem I have with this guy is that he doesn't really get into the breeding attempts. He doesn't really perform the way I wish he would. He kind of just sits there and really doesn't do much. So, but he's an awesome T. He's very friendly, as you can see. He's always very active. But as he comes on the open, you can clearly see the carapace. If you're a beginner, like I said, this is what most of them would look like, a mature male. So we'll take one more final pass through these guys. And that'll do it for this T Spotlight. If you're a beginner, it's important to know some of these different types of colors and different, characteristics of some of the Grammostolas and Brachy's and things like that, because pet stores will label it a tarantula of a particular species and can be completely off base, and you might find yourself a gem in there, like I did with my little new edition. So it's always good to learn about all the different color forms and all that, so you actually know what you're looking at when you buy them. You never know what you might find. You might find yourself something pretty cool for a really cheap price, kind of like what I just did. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you enjoyed this T Spotlight, please go to my Day or Night Exotics TV channel page, and you can check out all the playlists there and subscribe. There'll be more T Spotlights to come. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Be safe out there.